Hey team, this is your social time activity for April week 5. What you're going to do, you're not going to need any supplies for this activity. As kids come in, tell them that you are making a secret stew, and there's a secret recipe for making this stew or this soup. And so you're the only one that knows how to play this game. Basically, they're going to ask you, can something go into the soup? So could a spoon go into the soup? And you could tell them, yes, a spoon could go into the soup because it has two back-to-back of the same letters. So it's got O for spoon. Or they could ask you, can pizza go into the soup? And you say, yes, pizza can go into the soup because it's got two Z's back-to-back. But you cannot tell them any of this stuff. So you'll go through, they'll ask you a type of food or some random object that could go into the soup, and you should have to think, are there two letters that are back-to-back? Then you tell them yes or no, whether that can go in there. So could a lion go into the soup? No, a lion couldn't go into the soup because there's no double back-to-back letters. So kids will start to hopefully figure it out, but don't let them tell the rest of the group, and go until the end of your time and then explain how the game is played. You'll have some fun with this. All right, for your first activity in group time, this is after the so-and-so show plays. It's called Take a Snapshot, and what you're going to do, you're not going to need any supplies for this activity. You're going to tell the students, give them an example of something, or tell them to think of their own example for some situation where they need to make sure they don't act out impatiently, where they need to have patience and show patience. And so a couple of the examples would be cheating on a test, making fun of somebody, saying a cuss word. And so you can give them examples if they can't think of something, but obviously encourage them to think of something if they can. And then what they're going to do is they're going to act out that situation in slow motion. And so then the other students will try and guess what they're acting out. So if it would be walking across the street without looking both ways or whatever, it would be slow motion. So they'll have a good time acting that out. The goal of the game is not to have everybody really figure out what they're acting out, but just to continue the conversation. When are the situations where we need to show patience? And so you have a good time with that activity. This is activity number 2 of group time, post so-and-so show. It's called Verses to Take With You. For this, you'll need your supplies. You have about 6 cards that look just like this. And so what you'll use these for is you'll use to create some discussion. But before you do that, make sure you look up James 1:19 in the Bible. You have a couple questions to talk about. What does it mean to be quick to listen? What about slow to speak? How about slow to become angry? And then if someone followed James 1:19, how might it help him or her to think twice and have patience? And so those are your 2 questions. Now, there are a couple different ways you can do this. You could choose partners. It says in the script to choose partners and kind of partner people off to do it that way. I think it's very, very helpful to keep everyone engaged in the same type of thing so you don't lose a couple of kids. And so however you want to do it, the way that I would do it is I would say, hey guys, I've got these cards. I want to ask you this question. Then you got to give me one answer for a way that we shouldn't handle that situation, an impatient way to handle it, and then I need 2 other answers to think of ways that we patiently handle the situation. So a couple of them are, why does that kid always have to call me the Jolly Green Giant? I can't help it if I'm tall. I could call him a few names. And so 1 answer for how we shouldn't handle that, 2 answers for how we should be patient in that situation. And then another one would be the remote control controller. It's like my brother knows everything that annoys me. He just grabbed the remote out of my hands. And so think of 1 answer, impatient, 2 answers, that would be the patient way. We're also talking about Esau and Jacob, and so that's how you'll do that activity.